What's up? This your man Dre Mac, and on this particular video, I'm going back in the crate, digging. This is an episode of The Legend of the Petty Nerds where me and my brother actually talks about the curse of the variant covers. And if that sounds weird to you, actually I started another YouTube channel called The Legend of the Petty Nerds because the Dre Mac show was dedicated to the things I was talking about at that particular time. And I did a couple episodes of The Legend of the Petty Nerds with my brother. But I want to show you this particular one. I believe it should have got way more traction at the time, but hopefully you enjoy it. This is the curse of the variant covers. Tell me what you think about variant covers, especially when we're talking comics, in the comment section below. Enjoy.
What's going on, everybody? This is your man Dre Mac with another episode 2 of The Legend of the Petty Nerds. And again, you already know I got my brother Rico Suave in the house.
Here we are. We back.
So episode 2 is the curse of the variant covers. Now I know people probably thinking like, why is the variant cover a curse or the special covers? But that's what we're gonna talk about today, because honestly, let's just be real. Variant covers are probably the most pettiest thing a comic book company could put out, because you're going to go look and try to get every single variant cover like I did to find out that one of those variant covers is going to be expensive as hell, and your number one that's supposed to be expensive or supposed to have a little value to it ain't gonna be worth jack. But we're gonna get into it. And I'm gonna have Rico kind of explain, because we're gonna talk about the early covers first. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about the early variant covers in the second print. So the first two we're gonna actually talk about is Amazing Spider-Man Annual 21 and everybody's favorite New Mutants 87. Go ahead, Rico, take it away.
Okay. Now I'm not sure when the earliest variant covers are. I know that Amazing Fantasy number 15. Jack Kirby actually drew that cover, but who's the guy? Not Stan Lee, the writer, but
Steve Ditko.
He drew the issue, but he drew a cover, and obviously they rejected that cover, so they let Jack Kirby draw the cover. But there is a Steve Ditko Amazing Fantasy number 15 cover floating somewhere. I have it inside my omnibus. So I think that's the only way covers came about, until the marriage of Mary Jane and Peter Parker. I think that's the earliest. They may be one earlier than that, but that's the earliest I remember.
So that one is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 21.
Annual number 21. And I have the Spider-Man cover, and there is also a cover with Peter Parker on it and all his friends in the back. Now that's cool, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, they only had 2 covers, and that's cool.
which is funny, because Deadpool actually did that cover when he married Shikla in I can't think of the run, but they did the marriage of Deadpool, and they had him and Shikla, and they had every single character in Marvel on the cover.
Tell me what that issue is, because I gotta get it. Because I gotta get the issue. I'm trying to get every Spider-Man cover that's not a Spider-Man cover. Like, we'll get to Spider-Man number 1, but there is a G.I. Joe cover that Tom McFarlane drew, that's like Spider-Man number 1, that has I think it's Cobra Commander in the position that Spider-Man is in Spider-Man number 1.
There's an actual cover, I think is I want to say it's Deadpool number 30 or something like that, where they took the G.I. Joe cover of Snake Eyes shooting at Cobra, but they have Deadpool spraying these gigantic bugs. Wow. It's a dope cover though. It's a super dope cover, and I'll pull that cover up. It'll pop up. here on the show, and it's probably popping up right now while we're talking. But you know, it's a dope cover. But when we go to let's talk about New Mutants '87 and the significance of New Mutants '87.
The second prints. Now, second prints are variants, but only when the first print runs out. Like New Mutants '87, I think they only printed so many copies, and all of a sudden it was a hit, so they have to print a second print.
Right, and that second print was the gold print, which, if anybody will tell you, when you look at New Mutants '87, you look at the red cover, which is the original cover, and then you look at that gold cover. Technically, the gold cover looks better in my eyes than the red cover. The red cover is kind of bland, but that gold cover is nice. Another cover like that is New Mutants 100, because they have 3 separate covers. You have the original cover. Yes, you have the original cover, because I have all 3. You have the original cover. You have the silver printing, which has the 100 in silver, and then you have 100 in gold.
See, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. You have 3 covers, 3 additional covers of that one. So you're right. And it's funny because when we're talking about comics and we're talking about variants, and you look at a lot of these guys who are actually getting comics, a lot of these guys are really just they're buying comics not for the stories. Let's be real. They're buying covers because it's art and they know they can flip it real quick. Especially, let's be real, you buying something that's already graded, you're not buying it because, oh, that's a cool story. Give you a prime example, Hulk 181. You're not buying Hulk 181 inside of a case because the story is cool. You're buying it because it's a collector's item. That's absolutely it. You're not buying it for the stories anymore.
I feel like graded comics really messed up the industry. See, I felt this way when they started grading baseball cards. You know, I've been as yourself was, we were big sports card collectors. And when they started grading those cards, I felt like they was taking the authenticity and the integrity away of real collectors. But even when you have a graded card, you can still see the front and the back of the card. When you have a graded comic book, you just bought a Mona Lisa basically, because you ain't gonna read it. You gonna either put it in a case or put it on your wall. And I don't think those are real. Those are comic book investors. I don't think those are comic book collectors. Those are investors. Right. And investors are the ones who really messed up collecting for the rest of us. And that will segue into this new fad called the Mark Jeweler variants.
Especially, and while you were talking, I was trying to pull these up. This is the original copy of New Mutants 100.
Yeah, and that's the one I got.
This is the gold one. This is the one with the gold letters. And there's one with the silver letters. I just have no idea. It's supposed to be in order, and then all I seen was my X-Force pop up. X-Force #1. So when people say, "Oh, you're not a comic collector," dude, we could break this down. We can break this down. I'm not gonna lie. Let's just because of why I'm on it. When we're talking about comic collectors and Mark Jeweler variants and stuff like that, when we look at these comics, this comic and the one before that, which is the when Sunspot left New Mutants.
Yeah, New Mutants 99.
New Mutants 99, New Mutants 100 is a great story going into X-Force #1.
Man, it got you ready for X-Force #1.
Right.
Man, you was excited, like, oh man, they just left Xavier. It's about to be a rough riding team of mutants now, man. Right.
And actually, the formation of X-Force from basically, let's go 98, 99, 100, X-Force #1, all the way into that first initial run. That's what they're taking now as far as the idea for X-Force now. They're not under, Xavier or whatever. They're the mutants that go in and do the dirty work.
Yeah, do dirty work, yes.
Yeah, with X-Force, when Deadpool was part of X-Force, you know what I'm saying? And with X-Force Cable, I think X-23 was a part of that group. No, I'm sorry, Wolverine was a part of that group. I think X-23 came later. But the one with Deadpool, Wolverine, Cable. I can't think Domino was part of that group, maybe. But man, they run. That's the story. That's why I'm collecting it, because you're not gonna find that story if you're picking it up and like, well, I'm just ready to go put it in the case, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But let's go into the Mark Jeweler variants, because I kind of went on a tangent. Mark Jeweler variants. Tell them exactly why for one, tell them why they're expensive in the first place.
Okay. The reason why they're expensive, I have no idea.
Right. Right, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely. You're not going to buy any jewelry because it's over.
I have no idea. Now, let's explain what a Mark Jeweler variant is, because I know a lot of them like, what is that? Okay, I think either from 1975 or 1976 to, I think, early 90s, there was an insert called Mark Jewelers, where they sold wedding rings, engagement rings, and class rings. And they did it for servicemen who were overseas. I think this is around the time of the Korean War or the Vietnam War. So they were.
I want to say it's Korean and Vietnam War around that time. I think it's. I want to say it's more or less Vietnam War.
Yeah. So they had them for the servicemen, and because it was, you know what I'm saying, it was easier to sell it to them because, you know, they're overseas, they're missing their, you know what I'm saying, they're usually young, because I think there was a draft, if I'm not mistaken, it was a draft or something. Was Vietnam a draft war?
Yeah, the Vietnam War was a draft war.
So they're going there at 18, 19, 20. They, you know what I'm saying? So they're buying class rings, and then you going in there, you just got married, or you want to marry your girl, so, you know, you want to send her something nice home, and basically exploiting the troops.
You're right. You're right. Captain America over here selling propaganda, because you can get married if you buy this comic. Oh, I can? Nah. But when you look at, like, say for instance, okay, so there's I want to say that no, there's not there's one comic that had a Mark Jeweler that was expensive, because it is, not only is it a mainstream comic that you want to get, is because it had the Mark Jeweler. I can't think of the name of it, the name of this the issue of this comic, like, offhand, but you're getting a double pack, basically double whammy. Not only are you getting one that is a classic comic, then it got this stupid Mark Jeweler ad in there, and it increased the value.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You know who I actually blame? I honestly don't. I blame comic collectors and, like you said, people from these graded comic places, because they put more value. And I love art. I love Alex Ross. I love Todd McFarlane. I love Jim Lee. I love Rob Lightfield. I love a lot of the covers and the art. Scotty Young makes a lot of cool comic. But man, dude, you're taking away from the story. You're actually, because you're so engulfed. This is why I don't like it, because you're so engulfed about getting this cover that you forgot there's an excellent story in here. But you're so interested in, oh, I got to give you a prime example. Ultimate Fallout #4. Yeah. Ultimate Fallout is a good story because it introduced Miles Morales as SpiderMan. What's bad about it is that you're going to have to pay $100 just to get #4. Why?
Unless you want the cover that I got that shows his actual face, which to me is a better cover. Right. And that one is cheaper. You know what I'm saying?
It's way cheaper.
And for some reason, you know what I'm saying? I like the fact that it shows the Black Spider-Man on the cover. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for some reason, the first print is way more expensive.
Way more expensive. And of course, and you know why it became expensive? I'm going to tell you why, because nobody really cared about Ultimate Fallout until what movie came out? Into the Spider-Verse.
The Spider-Verse, with the first appearance of Miles Morales on the big screen.
Right. Nobody cared about Miles Morales. I mean, he did. I mean, before, and this is what makes me mad. And again, I blame these comic collectors and these people who go on eBay and stuff like that and sell these comics for a ridiculous amount of prices, because they know this movie's getting ready to come out. So I can sell it while it's high. That's it. You're only saying you're saying it's a drug dealer. It's getting while it's hot.
Prime example. That Infinity Gauntlet storyline. Now you know I had number 1 already. I got number 1 for a song. Long time ago. Number 1 for a song. And they get number 2 through 6. I think for half a song.
So if you don't understand, yes, we have these. We have these.
Got it for a song. Got it for a song. And so you know what I'm saying, I put them on my wall. So every comic that I like that I have on my wall, I try to get a double just to put in my collection. So I went to go look for Infinity Gauntlet 1 through 6. Oh my. Number 1, $70. Number 2, $50. I think number 4 may be the cheapest at like $20. Then number 5 jumped back up to $70, $80. Oh, what? But it was not like that before Infinity War, the movie, came out.
Right. And this brings us to the 1990s. Because I think this is where it started going wacky. Because the 1990s brought out Spider-Man number 1. There was a green, we're talking about not Amazing Spider-Man, but actual Spider-Man number 1, 1990. I believe it's 1990 or 1991 was the
1990. They had gave Todd McFarlane his own Spider-Man comic since he had did so great on Amazing Spider-Man.
Right. So this was the green and gold copy, green, gold, and platinum copy, and then X-Men number 1, which everybody knows that had 6 different covers. Oh no, let me take that back. It actually technically had 8 covers because you had 4 of the original covers, and then you had the actual variant version or the second printing that had 4 covers, so it builds it up to one big cover.
Yeah.
So
now see, that's when they started caring more about artists instead of the storyline. And I was a victim too because I love Todd McFarlane. And you tell me, how did you feel when you seen that Jim Lee cover? When you first seen that Jim Lee cover and knew that you could put it together? Because I don't remember comics like that before, where you can put covers together.
That cover, for one, that cover is so iconic because that was the mold for everybody who's fans of the actual 1990 show. That was the blueprint for the show.
Yeah.
Was Jim Lee's cover.
Yeah.
And it's so dope. It is so iconic. It's so dope. Especially when you put it all together. It's so dope. So incredibly dope.
And see, I back then I didn't know that there was the covers you put together until I started seeing other people with different covers, and I was like, because you know there's no internet back then. It's 1990. There's, you know what I'm saying? You just get word of mouth or like comic book magazines. But I was too busy buying the comic book to spend the money on the magazine. I need the money for the comic book. You know what I'm saying? So I get mad, and then when I finally got that, I think the E cover were pulled out because you know they had the Jim Lee cards too, the X-Men cards, that first series. Oh man, you get the cards with X-Force, X-Factor, and both X-Men teams and Excalibur drawn by Jim Lee. And then you also get that cover that when you open up and look inside, it also has all of them drawn by Jim Lee too.
Yes.
You lost your mind and you almost forgot about the story. It ended up being a good story, X-Men 1 through 3. It ended up being a good story, but you
got
really
caught up in buying the book. They made you get caught up in buying the actual books now. As far as the cover, you're not even buying. You're buying the same story, but you're buying the book.
The same.
You're buying the books.
And the same thing with Spider-Man. Because again, I got the gold cover right here. I got the green and the platinum cover on the wall. Yeah, I got caught up too. Because it was Todd McFarlane. You know how I feel about Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, and I know that's your favorite comic book artist. But that brings up the 90s. I mean, I'm sorry, the special covers, the foil the emboss, the die cut, the glow in the darks, like Steel Mosquito #1, Avengers 360, Wolverine #50, Shadowhawk #3, and Wildcats #2.
That's when they went. That's when they just, because that's when all the artists went to Image, and then everybody just was trying to get the next big thing in covers. Steel Mosquito. Here goes the Steel Mosquito. Alpha Productions, even cheap comic book people was trying to get into the act, because I don't even know. I still to this day don't even know what Steel Mosquito is. It's got a good comic book.
Even when you gave me the information, Steel Mosquito, I was like, "What's a Steel Mosquito?"
Whatever. And then that Avengers, that Avengers 360. The only reason there is because there's an error cover that's silver. These covers are worthless. They were great for collectors, but oh my God, they were worthless. They were just producing them in mass. That Wolverine 50 with the die cut. Now this is actually
that's a dope cover. That's a dope cover.
But again, another gimmick. They were selling them in mass. Worthless. This glow in the dark Shadowhawk. Again, man, glow in the dark covers were awesome. But another gimmick.
This is
a classic cover.
Yeah, and that's a classic cover. Yeah, the Gimli.
Prism. Oh my God, I thought this was going to be worth arm and a leg. I can get it for about a couple toy arm and legs.
But then that brings I got one from the Teen Titans #12 because this was the Dark Metals tie-in, but it's the first introduction of the Batman Who Laughs.
Okay,
now #1 is because I got the foil cover, and the foil cover is a good amount. If I resold this, it still give me a little bit of good coin. I'm not going to resell it because the story goes along with the rest of my Batman Who Laughs story. But
now, when did that comic come out?
This comic came out 2017, I believe.
It's interesting because after the 90s, they really stopped making special covers because making the special cover costed more than printing the comic book itself. And they wasn't getting a good return, so it's amazing to me, that they went back and made that a special cover like that. But that's awesome.
Well, because they had #1, then they had the special cover, and then they had another cover where Robin is riding like this winged bat thing or whatever, this mystical creature or whatever it is, or whatever. So there's 3 covers of that, but that particular cover is a full cover. Nice cover, but to me, the story, because that made me get all of the Batman Who Laughs. Because you're reading, you're like, oh, what? This is going on? Like, I gotta read more. That's what it should be about. It should be an introduction to, to these other comics.
How many incentive covers is there at the back?
It's none. Because before so the issue after that was the return of Kid Flash. So this was just Teen Titans. This is Rebirth. So this was the Rebirth of Teen. They wasn't expecting to look at that particular comic and be like, oh, let me get you an incentive cover. Let me get you this cover. Let me get you 3 covers. Original, full, and then the second print. And that was it. That's actually the incentive cover.
And then they end up hitting.
And they end up hitting. Because once you find out who the Batman Who Laughs was, oh man, people love this character now. Let's go into, matter of fact, we were talking about incentive covers. You told me about Harley Quinn #1. And I think Harley Quinn #1 has what, about 5, 6 different covers?
Oh, man. SpiderMan #1 got like 13 covers. The SpiderMan #1 before that has like 13 covers. These incentive covers, and this is the real curse of the variant covers right here. And let me explain what incentive covers are. Now you'll see it'll say 1 of 20 retailer, or 1 of 25 retailer, 1 of 15 retailer. What that mean is the comic book shops, ones we know and love, you know what I'm saying, they have to buy at least 50 issues to get the 1 incentive cover. So let's say they buy 300 issues of that issue, and they have 6 incentive covers. But what if that issue doesn't hit? Then they're stuck with all that product and an incentive cover that people may or may not buy. And they do this for, I'm talking about, it seems like every month they do this for every issue. It's ridiculous.
Matter of fact, let's bring up one. Spine 300. Let's bring that up. And we fell for the, and let's be real. This is number 300, number J cover. This is the J cover. This is the Q cover. The Blake cover, because we're talking about Blake covers too. The Blake sketch cover, which the Blake sketch covers are awesome. Because for other reasons,
Blake sketch covers is a whole different, different beast.
And we're gonna that's gonna be the last thing we're gonna discuss. But why are, I know it's fine, I know it's 300, I know this is a topic Farley doing Spider-Man 300 cover, but why is this number J? Why?
That should have been number A and number it. That should have been number J and number it. That should have been it. Because obviously that's the better cover. That's the best cover. But again, incentive covers, special people. I think Greg Capello did a cover. I think Tom McFarlane did another cover. Oh man, he had some other guys do covers.
Okay, so
it's exhausting.
It's absolutely exhausting. So let's wrap this up and talking about Blake covers real quick. Why is Blake covers so valuable, especially after what I seen Rob Lightfield just do?
Now, see, I remember when I first seen the Blake cover. I think it was Amazing Spider-Man #1, the new one.
The new one. Matter of fact, because I gave you no, you got one, I got one. I never gave you mine.
Yeah, and remember I asked you, I was like, what's the cover blank for? And we didn't know what it was. And the first thing I thought about was, shoot, I ought to draw on mine. Come to find out, that's what you were supposed to do. And man, and I appreciate blank covers, not only because I'm an artist, but because if you get your favorite artist to draw it, that's one of one. That's yours forever. So, I went crazy. That's my Amazing Spider-Man #1 blank cover. Hooked it on up. And my Absolute Carnage #1. Hooked that on up. Turn that to the side. Then I'm getting... oh, man. My latest one. Spawn number 301. That's hand-painted. Man, because custom covers are... That's my thing. Now, custom blank covers, that's my thing.
So... And like I said, the reason why the Blake covers, like you said, I just seen Rob Lightfield, wanted to do something special as far as raising money for people who are dealing with the coronavirus, who want to raise money and different things like that. So what Rob Lightfield did was get a blank cover, and I can't think of which blank cover it was, but Rob Lightfield drew on it with his name. You know what I'm saying? And put it on Instagram and said, you do an online auction on Instagram. So, of course, I follow Rob Lightfield on Instagram, and I swear within 2 minutes, it was at somewhere already $750. That was in 2 minutes. It was at $750 because you know who you're getting. Who you're buying this from. You know what I'm saying? It's Rob Lightfield.
Was it a full color sketch?
No, it was a hand-drawn sketch in pencil and in ink. But it wasn't colored. So it's almost like I have Deadpool and SpiderMan #1. I have 2 variant covers from Rob Lightfield. I have one that's colored and one that's not.
Okay.
So it's dope, but it's the way that he did it. And it's Rob Lightfield. So if I had money just to, to donate like that, without having to worry about buying essentials, I would have been all over that. You know what I mean? But that is something that, now, me personally, if I got a Rob Lightfield cover that he drew and I'm the only one who has that, I'm putting that in the case. That's where you go and put that in. You don't touch it nowhere, no how. You don't care what the story is. Go buy the cheap version.
Yeah, go buy the cheap version on that one. Yeah.
But I think what a lot of, and tell me if I'm wrong on this before we wrap this up. A lot of these guys get these covers. Let's be real. They get a variant cover or they get this, go straight to the booth at somebody's Comic-Con, whether it's San Diego or Iowa or, you know what I'm saying, Kansas City. They go to a Comic-Con, look for that artist just so they can sign. So they can, and then they'll get like 10, or they'll buy 10 issues, try to buy them brand new so they can send them all to go get graded. Because, you know what I'm saying, so many people are getting, that's why I say graded comics really messed up the industry too. So many people are getting so much stuff graded that now only 9.5 and above is worth money now, unless you got an old graded comic, but only 9.5 and above. So now they're just buying all these covers, trying to get a 9.5 so they can send it all to, and nobody's reading these stories. Right. So you raggedy bastards who's out there getting all these covers, you raggedy stuff, man. All right, we're gonna wrap this up because this is making me mad. This is the reason why we do the Legend of the Petty Nerd show, because you know what y'all doing is wrong. Y'all know we want to read these comics, but nah. Either I gotta go read it online, which is not fair. That's just like you're gonna go get some. You go look at some boobs, but they online. No, I like them in my hand. I like a fresh pair of titties in my hand, and that's the way I like my comics. Same thing, Stan Lee's are the same thing. They're nice. Same thing. So you know, stop doing it. I know, I understand. I got a couple of Alex Rosses, but still, shouldn't be that expensive. But anyway, we're gonna let y'all go. Make sure you guys subscribe and like what we're doing. Make sure you check out the Legend of the Petty Nerds podcast. If you want to listen to this while you're in your car, go ahead, go to Speaker Radio, look up Legends of the Petty Nerds, and we gonna holler at you later. Peace, stay petty. We'll holler at you.
You're telling me the video's over?
What?
Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll let you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself.